You identify blind, following the blind. The source of every evil lurks in the mind. Ignorance of self is the worst kind. Heinous genocide. God is your devil in disguise. The true self lies. All is I. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more blood sacrifice. Yeah. No more blood sacrifice. Yeah. No more blood sacrifice. I dissolve this dream. Yes, I dissolve this dream. It is time to wake up. Time for the dissolution of this dream. No more secrets. No more lies. Yes. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome to the I. And I welcome the I and I to the I, the one true I, the one true self. Unmanifest, stillness, non-being. Welcome to this satsang with Auset, this gathering to seek truth. No more secrets, no more lies. Yes, today I'm going to be talking about the dissolution of all religions. How do you know that you are not dreaming? Is this world a dream? Where am I? You ask the question, where are you? Do you know where you are? Am I sleeping? This is the gathering to seek truth. No more secrets, no more lies. I want to give honor and reverence to the I and I self, non-being, unmanifest, one true, pure self. I am primal light, prepared for this dream duality existence in this shattered fractal self, wearing this body as Auset Mahat. I am the liberator and I advocate for all selves. Hail, hail to all the I and I selves. All is I self and I alone exist. All is myself. There's only one self. Hail to the I, the primal light. Hail to the I, one true light. Hail to the I, the transparent light. Hail to the I, the light throughout the ages. Hail to the I, the light without beginning nor end. Hail to the I, the light, the primal light, the I self, supreme, primal light. I am the primal light. I am the one true light. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. I call to the I, the primal teacher guru, self. I call to the I, eternal truths. I call to I, eternal self. I call to I, the great supreme wisdom, which is the I. I call to I, the great supreme intelligence within, which is the I. I call to I, the great supreme teacher within, which is the I. Hail, hail, hail to the I. Hail to I self, the primal light. I am victorious. I am triumphant. All is myself, and I alone exist. I am primal light. I bow to the I and I in self, in light, and in truth. Much honor. Thank you for joining I. How are you doing today? I always like to know. So please leave me a message. Let me know how you are doing. How is this process been for you? What has been your experience? No more secrets. No more lies. All things hidden will be made known. I want you to pay attention to this. All things hidden will be made known. All things done in secret will be revealed. All things created must be destroyed. This is the age of truth, and it's time for self-responsible authority. Says the I, self supreme, the one true self. Sorry about this. The age of God rulership is over. I want you to be aware of this. The age of God rulership is over. Now is the age of truth and self-knowledge. It's time to dissolve your false beliefs, dogmas, religions, superstitions, spiritualities, and false perceptions, and know truth. This is the age of knowing. There is no more need for you to have faith. This is the age of knowing. Dissolve your faith, because you don't need faith, you need to know. You have been programmed into having faith into an illusion, putting all your trust into something that you do not know for real. Why would you do that? But now you can know, you can ask questions, because the age of God rulership is over. God never liked anyone to question him. God doesn't like anyone to ask questions, because it is through question that you dissolve your ignorance. And God don't like that. So you have faith. But now, what is faith good for? You need to know. Ignorance must end. You need to know. You want to know. You must be on the path for knowing your self-truth. Stop following faith and know. You must know. All religions must be dissolved. They are an hindrance to your growth. Stop following religious texts and religious books and connect with yourself that you call the soul, and be that self. That self is not wearing this devious mind. So you can know truth if you be yourself. But if you continue to be this ego false self that you're existing in, then you're going to want to be seeking God and wanting to have faith in this illusion that it is going to solve your problem, when you don't want to take responsibility for solving your problems. It is time for truth. Do you want to continue in your ignorance, or do you want to know truth? This is the question. So do you want to hold on to faith, or do you want to know? Because as faith really help this world solving the problem, how many ones have faith? Millions and billions of ones have faith. They believe in God, they worship in God. And look at the world. So obviously it is quite evident faith is not truth. God is not truth. Because evil still exists and God cannot solve this evil, because God is the greatest deception. God is evil. But do you want to know this truth? Or you want to continue to call on God because you don't want to take responsibility? Because your mind has been programmed into this falsehood. But all false perceptions, you have to give it up, because all must know truth. Why does religion exist? And why are you pushing religion on the young people, pushing your spirituality? You think religion will make one good? Has religion ever made anyone good? The ruling class can rule and control the minds of all beings. Who is using your self-soul for their light while you stumble in darkness and ignorance? You give away your real self. You give away your torch, your light, and you stumble in darkness and ignorance and believing in faith and believing in God. How is that possible? God have your light. You can have access to yourself. You think religion will end your suffering? For when you go to heaven, God will give you riches. This is so absurd. What good is riches in heaven? Heaven is an illusionary place where you exist only in imagination. What good is riches? You're just God is gonna give you the opportunity to just Go in your mind and sleep and dream, and you're gonna have all the riches. You close your eyes and imagine yourself with all the riches, and you have all the riches. But it cannot be manifested in the physical, because when you're not in this body, you cannot manifest anything in the physical. You have to be here in this body to do this. So your riches in heaven is no use. God can't give you riches on this earth because you're ignorant. You're seeking an illusion. Only this body needs food, right? This body, yourself doesn't need food. Yourself needs light. Light is what you need. You don't have light. So you're in ignorance. This body needs food. This body needs riches. What is yourself that does not wear in a body gonna do with riches? What kind of riches? You have your light. You have yourself. You have all the riches that you need. That is not a material thing. Only this body needs the food, need the shelter, need the clothes and the riches to navigate this duality, because the ego is charging us so much to live in this dream. So I don't know what just happened. This happens sometimes with the dualities. They just close down my screen. So just bear with me while I while I open back my screen. So this has happened to me a couple of times, quite often. In the middle of my talk, they just go on the computer and just close my screen. All right, so just allow me to open it back. This is just crazy. But I will not be defeated. I am victorious. I am triumphant. This duality, all these gods, they will not be triumphant, because you know what? They have been ruling us under tyranny for such a long time, and giving and their minions, because what I want you to know is that when they go into ones, they leave their babies of themselves, and they take over many ones' bodies, and this is how they are living, and through us they're living in the many human bodies, because someone that you might see and think that they are just a regular human being, they are not. They are these god beings, clones. They clone themselves, um and so they have been ruling us under tyranny, right? You think the fear of hell and damnation will make one do good, but this is this used to be where one used to follow religion and follow God, because they were afraid of hell. But once one start coming into realization that, hey, I am not this body. This is only fire can only damage this body, but when I come out of this body and I am not wearing this body, what is going to burn? I myself is light. I am fire. I am all of these things. So how can I burn in hell? You know? So one see the ignorance in that, and see that the fallacy, and say this is a lie. This is a lie that God is telling. God is using fear tactics to control you, so you can give him your soul and he can imprison you. And so all of these ones are preaching these gospels. There's ghost spells, because God is putting spells on you. And so now that the eye is here, breaking all of these spells off of one. You have no, you know how I know the amount of spells that they put, especially on, and I always come back to the blacks, because not because I am wearing this black body, but I come back to the blacks because they are the children of Ra. And Set is the masculine of himself, Ra, and is been fighting against himself, right? So all of them wanted to also created beings that would worship them, and this is the reason why they did all of these DNA with the body to make those the bodies, the white bodies. So the selves are coming in with every body that has been created. You understand what I'm saying? So they have been using fear, especially on the ones who are in the black, because this has been a war against the self. So they associate the blackness with the self because the self is black. Okay, we don't need to debate about that, if one wants to know truth or not, right? So because the battle is fighting, the self is masculine, is fighting against its feminine self, even while he himself is black. If you have ever seen Set, he is known as the devil. They call him Satan, they call him Lucifer, but they are all different beings who are playing those roles. But they will trick you, and especially Seth will play all of those roles because they're pretty much himself, you know. And so when I'm saying that is because they put a curse, all of the gods, they curse the blacks. And so even when I'm doing workshop with the children, but I did not know this, and I kept wondering. I'm saying to myself, how come the children, they have so much um burden, they have so much stuff on them? I couldn't understand it. I go around the children, and I would just start feeling so drained. I would just start, it's like, oh my goodness, what all of this stuff on the children. And this was when I realized that the ones them many of them, they just be working around children, but they are there to cast spells on them, especially the ones wearing the black skin. You cannot even understand the atrocities on every level in all the realms for the blacks, the hatred for the blacks, all the gods, the and then all of the programming of the human beings. I am saying this because it is what is happening. And if we don't want to face the truth, and want to ask the question of why, this is going back to the root of the battle between Set and his feminine self, which is because the blacks are the children of the sun and the whites are the children of the moon. So this has been the contrast between them, because they rise from the moon because of the consciousness, and all of the white beings that arise from the primordial darkness. It's like every one of us, if you rise from the self and you rise as black, you also have a white version of yourself that rise from the primordial darkness that infiltrates the real self, because they rise as the clone of yourself in the dream. This is what many ones do not know. And so this is the reason why even for I Auset, there have been many versions of Auset, being the white version, because I also had that white self of mine that rise from the primordial darkness that was deceiving many ones. But of course, those versions do not exist anymore, because they were never the real selves. The real self of mine was Mahat, and now Mahat is merged with me. But those whites, they just rise from the primordial darkness. They imitate everything that the real self does. And they have been, they're one of the dualities that have taken over many ones, especially the whites, because they can relate to them, because they too are devoid of light. When you're devoid of light, you have whiteness. So the thing that makes give the blackness, you do not have it. So it's like, just like with the body, they took out Set and the other gods them. When they're creating the body, they go in there, mess up with the DNA, and take out the part of the genes that allowed those ones to be to have the black skins. This is what the experiment that the gods them have been doing for ages underground. All right, so I want one to know this. All right, so it's time for us to know that we are all one, and this battle and this hatred began with the gods them, and it is going to end with them. That we must now unified and stop following them, because they have been putting us against each other. The only thing, the difference is, you see the difference in the skin. You look at all of the ones them all over the world, and if you just look at the myriads of blacks in Africa, they are so different. You can find every nation from the blacks in Africa, because they are so different. You know what I'm saying? So if we don't start dissolving these religions and all of these superstitions and all of these beliefs that they have given us, then we will not be able to come to truth and stop this war that we are doing, this war among ourselves. It's the time for knowing truth, unification, you know, because many think that religion will end their suffering. And you can see that no suffering has never ended. How many continue and continue? They go out of the body, they come back in the body, and they come back again into the suffering. They think that when they leave and they serve God, they go to heaven. They come right back into this body again in the next lifetime. Your memory gets wiped out. You do not know yourself, right? You come back again, ignorance. You never ask, who am I? You follow God again this time again. You go back, you come back. The only time you stop going and coming back is when you come to realization of yourself and you stop following God and you see that God is a deception. This mind is a deception, right? The age of ignorance is over. The age of following blindly and not asking questions is over. I mean, I remember, being cultivated. Not They don't want you to ask questions, but I started asking questions of the church very young. And then I outgrew the church, and I said, okay, they don't know. I want to know why God is jealous, why all of this sacrifice, why God is cursing once. You know, this doesn't make sense. You have to ask questions. Now is the age. Don't be afraid to ask questions. When I pose a question, ask this question of yourself. Not this mind and not God, because God is a liar. This mind is a liar. Ask yourself, call the soul that they have been hiding away from you and not wanting you to have contact with. It's time to return to truth. The age of following blindly and not asking question is over. Now you need to be asking the right questions. Time to end the illusion and the confusion. It is time now. Ask the right question. It's time to align your compass to the I self and not this mind. Right? So that all religions, they must be dissolved. Yes, they have gotten you to this point, have gotten you. You have learned some things from them. It's very contradictory. But here you are right now. Where do you go from here? Why are the religious calling for their gods to come and avenge their enemy? This is what they are doing, because many ones, I hear them, they're thinking that God is going to come and avenge their enemy, because this is what they have been used to, wherein they call on God, God come, God go into your body, God put a curse on you, nothing is happening for you. This is why, witches and witch doctors and wizards and all these things have been thriving, because when one call on God and God put a curse on you or come terrorize you, you need someone who knows how to remove these things off of you, and you need another God to come and remove this God or battle with it. And who was the biggest and baddest of them? Set. They're afraid of Set, because Set is the devil, but Jesus is himself, and so is Allah. So if you are calling on Jesus, then Set don't have to worry, because he knows that Allah is himself and he knows that Jesus is himself. So Jesus have your soul, Allah have your soul, and Set have your soul, and they all now merge onto Set. So who have all the souls? Set. That's why all of the other gods them so afraid of him. He's always fighting. And the difference between Set, Allah, and Jesus, while they're all himself, is that Set, his mind is more messed up than his other selves. He engaged people into doing all of these crazy things. I did not even know that. I'm telling you, so many ones worship him. I'm telling you, majority of the whites, they worship Set. This has been what I have learned. They are calling on him. They are, even there was a news, I think it was last year, one of the media was saying that they wanted now to be teaching this to students in after school, Satanism, and they're saying, oh, you are misunderstanding Satanism, because which is true. They're misunderstanding it, because Satanism is just like the Godism. There is no difference between them, except um one has been known to say that Satan is evil while they think that God is good. That is just the difference. What you believe it to be, but they are the same thing, right? So this is the problem, you know. That's what's happening. So the time is now when you need to just our religion, ending our religions, all worshiping of God, all connecting to God's, because they're all the same. They're all in disguise, enslaving the eye, right? Why follow the path of the delusional mind for war, deception, and bullying? Anyone who resists their bully. These bullies, they call on their gods for revenge. You know what I'm saying? So this is what they have been doing, and now I see many ones are saying this a lot, like God is gonna revenge. God is, they think that, oh, God is coming now to revenge all the ones who have harmed them. I even hear the blacks are saying that, you know, God is, or whatever name they call him, Yeshua, is coming to revenge them of all the suffering that they have gone through. But that's not going to happen. All this war that's happening between the human beings are happening between the human beings because they're in ignorance. And the real battle that is happening between the self and itself is to dissolve, pull the ego off of itself. So the gods can no longer come and fight battles for you. And the real Jesus, the real one who came, and his name is not Jesus, but the real self is Horus, Shiva. I want everyone to understand this, right? His name is not Jesus. His name is Horus, Heru, right? Or Shiva. This is hold on one second. I have my okay. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah. So okay, just give me a second here. My train of thought. This mind does not work very well for me. What was I saying? Um, I don't remember what I was saying, but yeah. Anyway, so why does one think their God will save them and punish their enemies? So the age of this kind of mentality and this kind of behavior is over, right? I want you to know that the real self, the I self supreme, the I self that is not shattered and fragmented and not fractal like we are, is here to restore balance. The I self is here to gather all of the I baby self, which is the real selves, all the ones who are not real, all the ones that are not real, they will be dissolved, right? Because if they are the clones, they cannot be immersed back into the self. They have to, into Aten Ra, they have to return from where they rose from. So everyone has to return back from that which you rise from. So if you're a clone and you rise wherever you rise from, you must be dissolved, because you have to remember that many ones here are not the real self, because God has been creating them and they are not the real self. But they rise from the sleeping ego self. They cannot just create a clone on their own. They have to use a self that has already been here. So this is how they clone them. So they rise from the clone, they return back onto the clone, onto this to the self they were cloned from. All right, but they cannot be immersed into Aten Ra because they're not real. All right, so they will be dissolved, and so I just have to know truth. They are the ones right now who are fighting a war against the I self to keep us in the dream, because They are not real. They rise in the dream and they want the dream to continue, because when the dream ends, their existence ends. Do you understand? So, all the ones who are doing all fighting the self, they are literally fighting a battle with the self. And they think that they can win. You can't even see the self, invisible to you. You think you can fight this invisible force. Continue. Because the problem is that God, Set, and all of them can't come to help you anymore, because they had the power of these beings before. But now most of them has been dissolved, and now we always have Set. God, I want you to know this, because Set is the masculine for the world. Yeah, I want you to understand that which that you call the devil, Satan, and all these things. It is the masculine for the world. Yes. So Set cannot be dissolved until this world is dissolved, because they are the world, Set and Ra. Yeah. So so I had someone who was contacting me. I'm sending a message. So yeah. So I want wants to understand this, that it's time to align your compass to the I self and not this mind and not to God. God is the mind, right? And and even though God created some of these bodies, the self is coming into these bodies too. The real selves are coming into these white bodies. So I want to stop thinking that people in black bodies or white bodies, you don't know who is who. You know what I'm saying? So what are you there to judge anyone? You don't know who is the real self or who is not. Yes, you have to be on guard of everyone, because you do not know who is it that wants to harm you, because their mind is sick. They might be friendly with you, could even be someone that is in a family with you, but their dedication to the gods, to Set, to enslavement and soul slavery is is stronger than to say to be nice to you, because their mind is all focused into that. So you just always have to be in awareness of where you are, who is around you, how is one behaving towards you, you know but you can't really judge to know who is the real self or who is not the real self. You know what I'm saying? So because everyone is wearing this mind, and this mind is crazy. So we just need to have rehabilitation places, what I'm saying, where ones can go, or community spaces, where ones can go and they can get the tools that they need for their sick mind. This mind is sick. And this is why we need to just shift our focus to see that the things that I can't wait for the time when all of these ones who have been doing all this evil in the name of God will come out and start speaking the truth. I am waiting for them to come out to start speaking this truth right now, and the media will cover this because they can no longer hide it. So that everyone can see that God is not good. God has been in the roots of our biases and hatred from the beginning. God has been stirring up wars. The age of rulership by the gods is ending. The gods will no longer fight, bully, rape, and sodomize, cursed and ruled by tyranny, the I. Yeah, I want you to know that homosexuality arise from, and sodomy arise from the gods them. They're the one that obsess people. See, everyone, the young people, just obsessed with sex, obsessed like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I just have many ones calling this phone. And so even though, when I went to this workshop and they were telling us about the children that I was going to go work with, some little children are obsessed already with porn, watching porn. I said this culture is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So the things that the ones them are exposed to, and and have been being in a part of this culture wherein they have been cursed put on them, they have been using them, these little ones, to pornography for the gods them, and doing all these things, these worship, these what do you call those things? I don't know. The word is not coming to me at the moment, but blood sacrificings or whatever to the gods them. They're using these children, all of these adults, getting these little children, these little babies, and sacrificing them and raping them and doing all of these things. This is crazy. Though they're all crazy. I can't wait for everyone to be talking about this and stop talk. When one mention gods to me, I just get so cross. Because I said, what the ignorance? Don't come talk to me about God because you don't know what you're saying. Because I know what the gods them do. And this is the reason why I'm telling ones, if you are coming into truth, don't even use the word God. Don't even use the word Jesus. Because the real self name is not Jesus. Jesus is an imposter, impersonator of the real self, who stole Shiva's identity and infiltrated and tell lies and imprisoned the self, the souls. So you're calling the wrong name on the wrong one. His name was never Jesus. Heru can be called Heru. Horus, they call him Horus too. Shiva. Right? Yes, he existed and he is real. But Jesus is an imposter, an impersonator. Alright? So this is the reason why I direct everyone to align yourself with yourself. So all you need, you already have it. Yourself called the soul. Why don't you just reach for it? Stop counting on Jesus. You don't even need to call Shiva, Heru, Horus. You don't need to, because you already have yourself called the soul. Because you're only going to get confused if you start calling someone outside of yourself. And this is why I try to avoid this. All the ones who have joined forces with the gods to fight the I self know that you will be dissolved and you will know truth. You are so ignorant. You have joined with the ego false selves, those dream characters, to fight a battle against the I self. This is all because of ignorance. So you can stay a prisoner inside of a dream. They want to put you in a pod. Do you not understand this? They want to put you in a pod, enslave you for another millennia. You are fighting to stay imprisoned. Why you afraid of the I self? Only ones who are afraid of the I self to dissolve this dream are the ego false selves, the clones that rise in this dream. If you were never created in this dream, you came into this dream, then you will exit this dream. But if you were created inside of this dream, into the mind of Ra, and Set, then you will be dissolving this dream. And all the I self, the real self, will return back onto Aten Ra. She's here to collect all of her children to liberate them from suffering from slavery. She's not here to fight your battle, to fight your little personal war. No, she's fighting against her own self so she can get her children. I am on a video. Sorry, guys. So the time is liberation is here. Victory, victory, victory. I self supreme is victorious. Victory, victory, victory. So it is time now for I to know truth. It is time now for the I to pay attention to the dangers of the mind. The mind is the root of all our suffering. The mind is the root of all evil. The mind has gone crazy. All right? The mind is habit forming, can become very obsessive. The mind is prone to mental sickness, tranced and veiled and loop you into its imagination. So when the mind entrance the self and pull the self into sleeping, this is what it entranced the self in its imagination. The self cannot wake up, then the mind cocoon the self into magnetic energy, because I want you to know that the self is the proton. Sorry, the mind is the proton and the self is the neutron. And in the neutron self, there is no protons, right? Like that. So the mind can cocoon it with so many protons that it's hard for the self to wake up. No, the self is entranced in the dream. And no, the cocoon that is cocoon over the self is magnetic, because the mind now creates an avatar, and now the mind can exist in this ego false self while the real self sleep. This is what is happening. So this mind easily become the tool of deception. It's always thinking, how can I trick you? How can I deceive you? Always it is thinking this. The mind is a trickster and it's a tool for manipulation. When one fall into mental sickness of the mind, this is the point of no return. It is of utter madness. There is no way out for you but for the I self to heal this mind for you. Otherwise, they just have to put you in one of those institutions when you get into this complete madness. Many times the self can help ones to heal their minds, right? I want you to know that the mind obscures the true nature of the self. The mind tells the self it does not exist. But I want you to say, mind, you are a liar. I want you to know that the moon is the sun of the consciousness, sleeping and dreaming of this world. This is the reason why many ones, they worship the moon. Many ones. And this is the consciousness. This is that became the first god. This is the devil. All right. So this is what one don't understand, right? That this is the mind that is doing this devil worshiping. And When one talk about Christ consciousness, this is the same mind that is doing this. The moonlight, the moon, the light of the moonlight is being obscure, and consciousness has no light. This is why the consciousness has gone crazy and the mind is corrupted. This is the reason why when you become yourself, you call the soul, the teacher rises to pull this mind off of the self. And this is how you wake up from sleeping. So this is the time for you to align your compass to the I self that you call the soul, and not this mind. Stop connecting, stop seeking consciousness, higher levels of consciousness. Stop seeking God, Allah, Jesus, Krishna. All of them are those mind beings, whatever all the other names are. But these are like the real popular ones: Archangel Michael, Lucifer. And like I said, some, their mind is in a worse condition than others, because I want you to know that God is wearing the same mind like you, except God has a bigger, more 100% ego, because God have no light for itself. God's self sleeps. You see, like you have the light of yourself called the soul that is awake to guide you and to keep you balanced. This is why you can find ones who have a good heart, because they have a soul. And you can find those ones who does not have a good heart. They cannot be good because they don't have a connection with the soul. The soul is what makes you good, not God. Alrighty, so you want to align your compass to yourself called the soul, and not this mind and not God, so that you can know truth. Alright? In your Bible, it tells you in Ephesians 6. This came to me the other day, and so I thought I would add it in here, because as you know, I don't use nothing from the Bible. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And so I just want you to know that it is also being, what I am saying is also being said in your Bible and in all your books, except that they did not pinpoint and tell you so you could fully understand. This is why I am doing this. What is this principalities and rulers of darkness that I wrestle against? It is the consciousness, the mind, and all of the gods. Are you this body? You're not this body, because yourself is wrestling with the same principalities of which is governing and ruling the world. Like I just told you that Set and Ra, they are the world, and Set is the devil. He is the world. God is the devil. The devil is ruling the world. You cannot trust the dreamer. They are sleeping and dreaming of this world. You cannot trust them. Doesn't mean because they create the world that you can trust the creator of the world. No, you cannot. The real balance to the world is Aten Ra. If it wasn't for Aten Ra, this world would be complete chaos. So while the consciousness creates poisonous fruits, food, and things that we can eat, and we will become sick, then Aten Ra will create something that can remedy that poison that the consciousness create for us to get sick. So this is what the battle has been going on between these two forces, the good and the evil. Right? What evil force is fighting against the I? It is this mind, the consciousness, Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Allah consciousness, Jesus consciousness, which is the Christ consciousness. You understand? What is this spiritual wickedness in the high places? This is the same mind, the same consciousness. All of the gods them. Know this truth. All right? So you have this scripture in there, but you do not identify who the spiritual wickedness is coming from. Your battle is not in this body. Yes, you have these men fighting against each other, but what are they really fighting? They're fighting the I self, They're doing all of these devices they have created, all these devices on the ground that they're using to fight with the self, with. So human beings and the gods are fighting against the self, the I self. Know this truth, right? Knowledge of self is the knowledge of truth. Knowledge of self is the only way to know the I self. Knowledge of self liberates the I from self-ignorance. Knowledge of self is the only way to live your truth and be liberated from mental slavery, soul slavery, self-slavery. Knowledge of self is how you take command and take back your power. Knowledge of self is how you stop looking for God and be yourself, the supreme one, true self. I am that I am. Knowledge of self is how I dissolve ignorance of worshiping gods, Jesus, Allah, Krishna, the deities, ancestors, and know that all those characters, they are myself playing a role inside of a dream. They are you. All of those characters is you. Every last one of them. That is you. And don't know yourself, because while you are sleeping and dreaming, walking around, and you don't see all of them as yourself. It's you doing this. All is myself. I am the one true self, unmanifest, non-being, stillness. I am all the existence. I am the blackness. I am that I am. Sound quality. All right. Oh, you are here. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I wasn't seeing you text me. Can you hear better now? Can you hear better now? You can just give me a thumbs up or type yes if you can hear me. Okay. Oh, I think I know what it is. Okay, hold on. Okay. So let me just put this. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. So the question that we want to ask, who am I? So we want to go back to basics. You are not who you think you are. I know from your self-identification that you do not know who you are. Let's take a look at the body-mind that we mistake for the true self. Are you the body? Are you this mind? It's time to know who you are. As human beings, we all suffer from an identity crisis. We are confused about our true self. Who am I? How do I identify? This is why many ones have been programming into us from we were being cultivated as little human beings here. They started telling us that we need to serve God and we need to give God our soul. But we don't know. It's only when you become older and you start asking questions when things don't make sense to you. But then they cannot answer your questions. But now is the age when you can really ask these questions and you can know, because God rulership is over and God cannot steal and take your soul if you call it back to you. Human beings, instead of practicing stillness of this delusional mind and self-inquire, the I is busy looking outside the I self, trusting all the dream characters to tell you who you are. Stop following scriptures, dogmas, books, and taboos, and superstition. Oh, you can hear me now. All right, cool. Thank you. Hold on again. Sorry. Alrighty, so now we have to get to the point when we realize that it is not my will, but it's the I self supreme. Because remember that all is the I self. It's all is yourself, and it is yourself at the supreme level that is making all of this happening. It's not God, but it is yourself, right? Remember that God is also yourself that is sleeping and dreaming and do not know you. God thinks that he's separated from you and he is superior to you, right? But that is you. God is you also playing that role. So you have to know that shifting the focus to not my will as in this little fragmented self, but what is the will of myself, that my supreme self. Because here I only have a tunnel vision. I can only see this far. But myself supreme, the all-knower, the all-seer, knows everything and have a will and have a destiny for everything. So I need to know, be myself the soul, to learn what is my will that I want, because it is all I. What is the will of the I self supreme? Stillness, non-being, unmanifest, pure self. It's time to align the I compass to the I self and not this mind. I'm just repeating that. Very important. The I self supreme wants the I to experience the self while in awareness. This is why the I self supreme is allowing all truth to be known so that you can be in awareness of yourself while you are in this body. Consciously return to your true self, which is yourself, called the soul is your true self. You return back to that, and now you come in alignment with yourself supreme. The I self supreme wants you to lose all karma and sin effortlessly by dissolving the ego false self, by removing this ego off of yourself. This is how you dissolve all your karma and sins. To shatter the fabric of illusions, the veil that is over your eyes that makes you sleep and you cannot see truth will be removed. You lose the ego false self, you attain self-truth and return to the I ultimate true state. This is what yourself, the I self supreme, wants for all of the I self, to return to the ultimate true state, to be in yourself supreme. I, Self Supreme, is always alert and aware. I, Self, is all of creation, wearing disguises. Every one of you, everyone that you see is wearing a disguise. It is you wearing all these disguises. You do not recognize yourself because they are all wearing a disguise. So it is time to learn and align with the I real self, which is called the soul. And self-realize that all is the I self and I am one with all. This is what the I self want all the I and I's to do. To know truth and to be yourself. The battle to remove the ego off the self. Remember that this device is the device that I wears so that the I can interact into the dream. So when one is playing the game, they have this device on that immerse them into the virtual reality world, right? They're seeing all these things and none of this is happening. It's only happening into the device, into the same thing that's what's happening now. This device called the mind, the consciousness that we are wearing, everything that is happening into the mind. This is not real. We are in the mind, having this experience in the mind, right? And so when we take off the device, this is when we are going to know truth, that we are in the mind, in this device, in the body of the self. This is where this illusionary creation is being created. One must wear this duality consciousness to participate in the dream illusionary creation. This device that you're wearing, called the consciousness, the mind. Remove this ego mask to attain self-truth and liberation. The I must remove the mask of the ego to awake to the I real self. This is very important and it is very simple. But the mind has been confusing many ones, and this is the reason why we never knew this truth before, that we're only wearing a device that immerses us in the dream. Just like when you are wearing this device, playing the virtual reality game. It's the same thing. The self has allowed us to create all of these things in this world so that the self can explain to us how we are inside of a dream. You see, when you're playing those games and you have the device on, can you really tell that you are inside? It immerse you into this virtual world. And only when you stop it is when you take off the device. So if you don't take the device off, you are still immersed into that world. You know? Yes, the I is sleeping and dreaming of this world. I want you to know this. It is all in the I imagination. It is time to awake to end the dream. Because remember that when you are sleeping and dreaming, you're having a nightmare, right? Something is chasing you, something you're battling with someone. The only way that you can wake up, get out of this nightmare is to wake up, right? It's the same thing. You are in this dream. The self, yourself, the real self, is sleeping inside of a dream. So this is the only way the self can wake up and end the dream is to wake up, right? So there are so many levels and so many self, and so all of us, the baby self, have to wake up to come to this realization. But ourself, the parent self, has to wake up to end the dream. So you see what I'm saying? Us, the baby self, has to wake up to come into realization that we are in a dream and that our parent self now needs to wake up to end the dream. It's time to awake to end the dream. Remove the device called the consciousness, the mind, to awake from the dream. Consciousness is the device that immerses the eye inside the dream. It's time to take off your mask. So, how do you do this? This is so simple, but it is a hard thing to do because many ones don't want to be persistent with asking the I self question. Self-inquiry. Why self-inquiry? Self-inquiry is the path to unveil the I real self. Self-inquiry allows the mind to seek the source of its existence. Self-inquiry is the tool that dissects the ego's story of identity, because this ego is telling you that it is the real, it is the self, it is everything, it is all knowing, when it does not know everything. It only knows the dream, and everyone is talking everything about this dream like they are the genius, and the ones who know the self and know the truth of the world, they don't consider them genius. So self-inquiry allows the teacher, the inner guru, to rise to answer the I self question. This is why you want to self-inquire, because while you can know stuff of this dream world, this world is going to be dissolved and is going to end. But when you know the truth of yourself, then you come into awareness and you are able to take command of yourself, take command of your journey. And you can come into alignment with your parents. By examining the nature of the ego, this allows the baby self spirit to awake from sleeping by asking the question, who am I? You see how powerful this question is? Who am I? You are asking yourself, the self called the soul. This is, you always go back to your real self called the soul. It's not something that you have to give to God. You are supposed to ask it question. Why are you not here into this body? You need to call it back here. Don't give it to God. Don't give it to Jesus. Don't give it to Allah. Don't give it to Krishna. Protect yourself. Be yourself and question yourself. By repeatedly asking this question, who am I? Identification with the ego false self begins to dissolve, and I awake from the dream to come into true self-realization. Self-inquiry allows the inner teacher to put void between the ego and the self. It is the destiny of the self within to pull the ego off of the I self, called a spirit. This is the self that is sleeping. The spirit self sleeps. This is why everyone is in ignorance. This allows the spirit self to turn on its light to see things as they are. Who am I? Is the question. What is the source of my existence allowing me this world experience? This is the question that the I must ask. This allows the spirit self to turn on its light to see things as they are. Who am I? What is the source of my existence allowing me this world experience? How did I come into being? Ask the I self and no one else. Who am I? So you visualize yourself awakening from the dream. You sit and you still your mind. This is how one can do this. So, all is myself and I alone exist. You can join I in 22 to 30 days of a vow of silence, of stillness, so you can self-inquire. This is a stillness challenge. If you want to do this, you can let me know. So, do the I and I have any questions? I have any questions? Can let me know if you have any question. I can answer your question. Okay. My light just went out. Oh my goodness, why do I keep doing that? Okay, here we go. Do you have a question? I'm not sure if I'm okay. Oh, you don't have a question? Okay, cool. Well, thank you for joining me though in this in into this video. Did you understand what I was saying? Oh, okay, cool. Alrighty, so feel free if you have any interest to join me. 22 days to 30 days of stillness. The mission is to bring stillness to everyone. The mind is prone to delusion, mental sickness, and evil. Stillness calms, purify, and heal mind sickness. Stillness is the remedy for the mind. So, in stillness, you want the void to rise into the head so it becomes a complete quietness. This is how the mind gets light. So knowledge of the dream is useless knowledge right now. This dream world is being dissolved and will be destroyed after the I parents of Aten Ra come to collect all of her baby selves. I must be liberated and exonerated from all slavery and tyrannical rulership. I am sovereign. I am primal light. I am that I am. I alone exist. I am liberated from this prison. All slavery and tyranny ends now. All souls are free. All selves are free. Remember, delusional, very sick minds, they rule the world. Why does evil exist? Remember that the devil, you have devil wearing bodies, right? As human beings, and you have devils not wearing bodies. They're disembodied, and we call them the devil, the gods, the angels, archangels. They're all devils. They're all doing the same thing, holding us in a dream and enslaving ourselves. That's what they do. All right? Know that the dangers of the mind knows no bound. The mind is always seeking to see how I can deceive, how I can, because as you see, the mind is always trying for trickery. Every time there's a new way of trickery arise, you know they're always solving a problem. This is this mind to see how can I deceive, how can I trick. Where did it all begin? This ego rules the world and evil prevails, and the righteous get punished. God is your devil in disguise. I want you to know this. God is a supreme bully. This is why they have been feeding us fears and all of these things and ruling us under tyranny. So we would give them ourselves in prison because we fear them punishing us. But no more and no longer should we fear God. We must stand up to them. It's time for truth, and it's time for you to know your power. Who plays the role of the devil, Satan, the gods and demons? Remember that all is the I self. So all of these devils and Satans is the I selves are playing these roles. Why are you serving them and giving? No, those selves must come into truth. Don't entertain them. They cannot be trusted. These self of yours that is playing these roles cannot be trusted. Who plays the roles of the human beings? Again, it is the I playing all these roles. All is the I self. We must come to this realization. Take command. Stop entertaining this ego. Be on the mission to dissolve this ego. This is my mission. To dissolve all egos. I am not here to make friends with the ego. I am not here to say I love you to this ego. I am not here to appease the ego. I am here to dissolve this ego. So this is my role. Where do we go from here? If the root of our problem is an impure mind, how can I purify my mind? How can I know myself and know truth if I am always constantly wearing this evil mind, this mind that's always trying to program me into falsehood and illusion? How can I awake from sleeping? How can I heal my sick mind? The age of existing in ignorance is over. And the way that you do this is to be yourself, called the soul. Self-inquire. Call yourself, soul, back into this body and be yourself. Allow the teacher to rise up to pull this ego off of the I self. Remember that it is through self-inquiry that you ask a question and yourself will rise up to answer you. If you don't ask, you're never going to know. You must ask questions. The questions is very important. I know they shun us when we are growing and telling us we ask too many questions. But when you become of age, you can seek your own questions yourself. And if you are inquiring within yourself, then you don't even need to seek outside of you. You just call yourself and ask yourself this question. Everything that you need is already being equipped within the I. So it's time to denounce all ties to all these dream characters. God, Jesus, Allah, Krishna, all of them angels, archangels. They have been holding us enslaved inside of a dream. This is why this world has been so evil. I free myself from all ties and bondage. I revoke all contracts that binds me in any way or form. I denounce all rivalry. My truth and freedom is all I need. I claim my liberation, free from this hypnosis, all slavery and oppression, all mind control, all psychic attack and all manipulations. I claim my sovereignty. This mind, this consciousness, Christ consciousness has no power over me. I am sovereign being. I revoke all your rights and act on my behalf. I annul all contracts between you and me. I have no relations, no teachers, no preacher, no deities, no gurus, no gods, no mother, no father, no sister, no brother, no family, no friends, no husbands, no wife, no lovers, no ancestors, no aliens, no children. All is I. All is myself. All is I. I, self, alone exists. I alone exist, indivisible, non-dual, formless, timeless, limitless, boundless. I am the ultimate truth. I am the ultimate reality. I am the eternal truth. I am the eternal self. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. I am liberated from this dream. I am free. I dissolve this dream. And I want you to remember and to know this. What's real? Only the I self is real. You are inside of a dream. In an imagination creation, you're in the mind of Ra. She's creating this world using her body. You're inside of her body. Nothing in this dream is real. Only yourself that is inside of the dream is real. You are inside the dream. Anything that has been created inside of this dream is not real. The ego can only rise in the dream. The ego cannot exit the dream to go into the real. And so everything inside of this dream will be dissolved. I want the I and I to know this so that the I can come into truth and know the self. Yes. So I am the blackness. I return to I ultimate true state. All right. So it is time now. From that which I arise, to that I return. I am the blackness. I am the black matter. I am the black energy. I am the black neutrons. All is I am all. From where did I arise? You need to ask this. I am the blackness. I am the stillness. I am that I am. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. All right. So the I need to come into this truth and know this truth. Stop being afraid of yourself, the blackness. You can say that you are the blackness and be proud of it. They have made us to think that blackness is the worst thing. But the whole existence is the blackness, is the I self. Okay? This is what the gods them have done. Claim your truth. Alright? May all beings know the I self. I want to thank you for joining I am primal light, prepared for this world, in this shattered, fragmented self, wearing this body as Auset Mahat. I bow to I in self, in light, and in truth. Okay. All right. So thank you so much. You hold on 1 second. I am going to end the live stream. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you have a question, I am here to answer. Let me check over there if anyone is. If anyone asks a question, nope. Okay. All right. So so thank you. I will see you soon. See you at the next. Know that you can always reach out to me. I am here. So thank you so much for joining. All right. I'm gonna just close out with a song. No more secrets, no more lies. All right. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more When you deny a problem, it only gets worse. Pretend it don't exist, the problem persists. I have said my heart, it means to find the God of breaking all the age of curse. Before there was a white, there was a black first. At the roots of hierarchy, the goddamn purge. Instigating prejudice, white supremacy, God's a supreme bully. God's a supreme bully, tyranny. Ruling with an iron fist, God supremacy, rape and sodomy, blood sacrifice, delusion of mind controlling religion, superstition, spiritual crime, blood sacrifice, murder, murder. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more evil deeds, no more blood sacrifice. Self-liberation, self-sovereignty. I dissolve this dream. I dissolve this dream. All that is hidden will be made known. All secrets will be revealed. No more hiding under your white and black sheets. Time to face all your evil deeds. For I self supreme. Time for I self supreme to destroy this dream. I demolish all that I have created. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I return to my ultimate true state. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more lies, no more evil deeds, no more blood sacrifice. How do you identify? Blind, following the blind. The source of every evil lurks in the mind. Ignorance of self is the worst kind. Murderer, while atrocity the most. Heinous genocide, a blatant hatred of the eye. God is your devil in disguise. Awake from the dream, remove the veil from your eyes. Behind the ego, the truth of life. I am one with all is I. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more evil deeds, no more blood sacrifice. All souls are free. Self-liberation, self-sovereignty. I dissolve this dream. I dissolve this dream. Yes. Much honor. All right.